Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Dinwiddie. Here. Alderman Ravenscraft.
Here.
Alderman Court.
Here.
Alderman Turner.
Here.
Alderman Bill is absent. And Alderman Lewis.
Here.
Can I get a motion for approval of April 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes, please?
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion of approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to special items, we have none. Appointments to boards and commissions, we have none. Public scheduled comments, none. Just a reminder that public comments need to be into the city clerk by Wednesday before the meeting date. Public hearing annexation for the Martin Builders LLC East Liberty Lane. Staff report, please.
We're here for the public hearing on the annexation for Martin Builders. This is for 5003 East Liberty Lane. We have a 2.5 acre parcel. There's currently a farmhouse on that parcel. Purpose of this annexation is to bring that property into city limits and combine it with the adjacent Liberty North subdivision. That's really all we have for this one. Pretty straightforward. It's currently single-family residential. Will be rezoned to city single-family residential as part of a later action.
Is he gonna leave it there? Is he gonna leave it?
That'll all go away and be incorporated into that subdivision.
Okay.
We just don't have a definitive timeline on that quite yet.
Okay.
It's planned for it.
It's completely surrounded by city property.
Correct. It's an
Yes.
island right now.
Somebody living in the house?
I don't believe we've received any written comments. I don't know if there's anyone for public comment.
Anybody for public comment?
Good evening. My name's Ryan Fuller with McClure Engineering. Meeting address is 2001 West Broadway in Columbia, Missouri. Representing the Martins tonight for this request. I don't have a presentation. Kyle did a good job for it. Bill is looking to combine this with some future phases of his Liberty Landing North. There is someone, a renter, living there now. They're aware of the plans for this to be incorporated. They're on a month-to-month lease. Martin's planned to give them plenty of notice before any sort of development occurs. They've got 2 more phases in Liberty Landing North that is west of the creek in the area that's being developed now. So my guess is it's probably 2 to 3 years at least before we see much movement on this side where this lot's being annexed.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Yep.
Alright, moving on to introductions and first readings.
I'll close the hearing.
At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Alright, moving on to introductions and first reading. Council Bill number 2025-20, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Ashland, Missouri by annexing unincorporated area, directing this by the city clerk to give notice of annexation of Martin properties. Staff report, please.
You'll find in my packet the staff report for annexations. We have to put together a findings memo to comply with state statute. So the city does find that this property is contiguous and compact. We do find that the annexation is necessary and reasonable in conformance with our adopted land use plans and regulations, and we do have the ability to provide services to this property. That's all I have for it.
Any questions for staff? All right. Can I get a motion approving Council Bill number 2025-20, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Ashland, Missouri by annexing unincorporated area, directing the city clerk to give notice of the annexation of Martin properties?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Alderman Turner?
Aye.
Alderman Colbert?
Aye.
Alderman Ravenscraft?
Aye.
And Alderman Dinwiddie.
Aye.
Council Bill number 2025-21, an ordinance to change the zoning of a parcel of land from A1 to R1 for Martin Properties LLC. Staff report, please.
This is a request for rezoning from A1 to R1 as required per section 9-2.3 of the city code, contingent upon board of Aldermen approval of annexation, which just happened. The owner of this parcel is Martin Properties LLC, and the submitting engineering firm is McClure Engineering. The subject property, once annexed, will become part of Liberty Landing North Phase 2. This parcel is approximately 2.5 acres in size and is located on the north side of the intersection of Liberty Lane and Allegiance Avenue, directly north of the Liberty Landing, so not to be confused with the Liberty Landing. Rezoning is required when a property is newly annexed into the city of Ashland. R1 zoning is required per 9.155 to create a residential development for detached single-family dwellings. This parcel is adjacent to parcels to the north, south, and west that are currently zoned R1. Parcel to the east is currently zoned CG, General Commercial. Preliminary plat for Liberty Landing North was approved back in July of 2021, and the parcel to the north was rezoned R1 in February of 2021. So staff is supportive of this rezoning since it has been annexed by the board. Developer has met the requirements set forth in the city code, and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this as well, contingent on the annexation.
Thanks, sir. Any questions? Excuse me, any questions for staff?
Just since, what we just voted on was the first reading, is there an issue with the?
These are both first reads.
They're both first reads.
First reads,
So, yeah,
so it's still contingent on
contingent
approval on the second
approval on
reading.
the second reading.
Okay.
Can I get a motion approving Council Bill number 2025-21, an ordinance to change the zoning of a parcel of land from A1 to R1 for Martin Properties.
So moved.
First and second.
Put it on next time.
Alderman Tigley,
Aye.
Alderman Ravencroft,
Aye.
Alderman Colbert,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
and Alderman Lewis.
Aye.
Moving on to old business. Ordinance number 1516, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with M&M Landscaping and Construction LLC for Oak Street and Caspian Circle stormwater improvements.
Second read of the contract with MMLC. Contract price is $338,751. As a reminder, this is partially funded through Boone County ARPA grant revenues received. Once this is approved, we will circle back with the contractor to get a breakground date, and we'll inform the board once we have that scheduled. Should be imminently.
Any questions for staff? Can I get a motion approving ordinance number 1516, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with M&M Landscaping and Construction LLC for the Oak Street and Caspian Circle stormwater improvement?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Alderman Turner?
Aye.
Alderman Colbert?
Aye.
Alderman Ravenscraft?
Aye.
And Alderman Dinwiddie?
Aye.
Moving on to new business. Resolution 2025-227, a resolution adopting the revised personnel plan. Sorry.
All right, so annually we review and make updates to the personnel policy manual as necessary, as well as adopting any significant changes that we think need to be accounted for. This year we just made some minor changes to reflect our current retirement program that was adopted with the May 1st effective date. We've made some other minor adjustments to language throughout to better match our current practices. And we're also adding Christmas Eve as a paid holiday, with Christmas being in the middle of the week this last week. That kind of caused us to give some consideration to how to handle that appropriately to make sure we're being fair to staff. So we're just gonna add Christmas Eve as a paid holiday as well, just to make that a little easier in the future. And that is really it. There's not really any other big changes that we made this year to that personnel policy manual.
Are you making Christmas Eve a day off?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Paid holiday.
That's awesome. That's good for you guys.
So that puts it
I
at,
want that.
What are you smiling for?
we haven't voted.
We
I was
haven't
gonna say.
approved it yet. Any other holidays we need to talk about? Leslie? No?
No comment.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution 2025-27, a resolution adopting the revised personnel plan, or manual, sorry.
Just a reminder, the Thursday's a state holiday,
This Thursday?
Yes, ma'am.
Not City Hall.
Truman Day.
No.
We did not add that one.
The banks are open, but the courthouses will be closed.
I don't plan on being in the courthouse anyway, I hope.
All right, can I get a second, first here, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2025-28, resolution adopting and amending the amended City of Ashland, Missouri fee schedule policy manual.
So a couple years ago, we put together just a quick reference guide, fee schedule. Every year we adjust that based off of whatever's been changed. So we've passed some ordinance to change some utility rates. We've adopted some other fees throughout the year. So this is just an annual process to update that manual to make sure it accurately reflects. It more or less says nothing beyond what's in code. It just breaks it out from being in a 900-page document to putting it in a 3 or 4-page document. That way, not only the customer has access to that fee schedule just for quick reference, but then we as staff also have a quick reference that we can flip through as opposed to digging through a chapter to find what we're looking for. So that's what you have.
All right, any questions? Can I get a motion approving resolution 2025-28, a resolution adopting the amended City of Ashland, Missouri fee schedule policy manual?
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2025-29, a resolution adopting the amended utility procedure manual in accordance to chapter 14 sewer, water, and solid waste.
Much like your last item, this just updates the procedure manual that staff uses. So again, it breaks out some of the language that's in city code, puts it into a manual format that's easier for staff to use, easier for the customer to access. Just breaks out everything that has to do with utility billing from being in multiple chapters and just puts it into a singular quick reference document. So the big things for this year are just updating the utility rates that were adopted, and then also putting the trash rate increase per the contract in there, since that goes up every year. And that is it.
Any questions? All right. Resolution can I get a motion approving resolution 2025-29, a resolution adopting the amended utility procedure manual in accordance to chapter 14 sewer, water, and solid waste. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2025-30, a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of Ashland, Missouri, accepting the bid from Turnkey Mobile for the purchase of 17 new laptop computers and accessories.
Yes, sir. So we put out, our current computers in the cars, which is what the guys use, they take them in and out of the cars, because that's what they use. These days, those are essential. We have to have, that's the way to communicate with joint communications. They write their reports through there, they do all their email work, all that. That really is the whole deal anymore. The current batch we have, the city's done a great job on those. We got those super cheap years ago from Missouri Surplus Property, most of them, some from another municipality. So we've really skated for a long time. But the software package that's in them turns into a pumpkin on October the 14th of this year. And there's no more security updates, that kind of thing. And obviously we're dealing in local, statewide, and federal databases of information that has to be kept secure, along with the local just day-to-day call stuff. So basically, we got to buy new computers. That's what it amounts to. We've done it in the budget. We put it out for bid. We only got one bid, but it was right about what we expected it to be. Including in this package is 2 additional units, one for community development, one for the water department. And so, so the total fiscal impact, I've broken it down on the sheet, the total fiscal impact's just under $80,000, 79,791, with, about 70,000 and change of that for the police department, and then $4,700 or so for each of the other departments. And these are semi-ruggedized computers that we can beat in, and this includes docking stations, and all that stuff for both the building and the cars. And so we're anticipating, we're hoping to get at least 5 or 10 years out of these. Now again, the software people own us, they can turn these off too at some point. But for right now, we believe this will hold us for a good while.
I don't know actually what the lifespan would be on that, but
I think on the machines, it's a really long time. The issue is the security and the software, yeah. But based on what these others have done, I would anticipate at least 5 years and hopefully more than that, yeah. But I can't promise you that right now.
And I would note there is a great value to having every car with the same exact setup. I have a lot of departments that mix and match, and it makes it very difficult for training, and you get used to working this one in the car, and another shift, and another one is a mess.
Right. And since these guys have to do, all the reports have to be done on them, there's a whole host of good reasons for there to be continuity with them doing everything on the same machine. And they get downloaded every time they get within a Wi-Fi network, or if they're docked in the cars. The other thing about this is that it'll make things a little more efficient, or a lot more efficient for our part-timers. Currently, they write a report, and then a day or two later, it gets reviewed by a supervisor, needs changes or additions. They have to physically come back here and touch a computer to do that, one of our computers. And so this will issue every sworn person in the department a computer that they can have all the time and make those updates quickly and easily all the time, get reports done quickly.
any questions for Chief?
Is there any trade-in value for the old?
Yes, we're gonna sell, we're thinking $500-600 a pop, we're thinking maybe on the others.
No, that was in a combined, we researched it on Gov Deals, everybody's put them on Gov Deals, and so we're checking the prices, but that was for a batch.
A batch?
No.
They have, the issue is Windows 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End of life in October, so they effectively have zero value to anyone, but we will certainly be auctioning them up to try and get something for them.
Understandable.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a motion approving resolution 2025-30, a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of Ashland, Missouri, accepting the bid from Turnkey Mobile for the purchase of 17 new laptops and computers and accessories?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2025-31, a resolution to consider a liquor license application to Mavericks Pizza.
So this one's a little different. We don't usually have to do anything like this, but Mavericks has put in for a Class A by the drink liquor license for their new location at 125 East Broadway. To be in compliance with state statute, we have to give notice to any school, church, or other building regularly used as a place of worship within 100 feet of Mavericks, and give them an opportunity to file an opinion, whether that be a yay or nay from those businesses. So Darla went ahead and published that notice. You have to give a 10-day notice. She went ahead and handled that a few weeks ago. As of when I wrote this report last week, we'd received no opposition regarding the liquor license. I don't think we've received anything this week about the liquor license. So at this point, we've received no good, no bad comments on Mavericks potentially having a Class A license. I don't believe that state statute contemplates that you're required as a result of the lack of comment to approve it, but it is before you for consideration to approve or deny a Class A liquor license for Mavericks Pizza.
I hate to ask, but what's the difference between a Class A liquor license? Just a regular liquor license?
Missouri has a myriad of different classifications. I'm not an expert on it. There's a ton of them. I would imagine that's the most permissive one. But they have different liquor licenses for certain days of the week, and caterers and hotels, and casinos have their own classification. But I don't know off the top of my head, but I presume it has the least amount of restriction. Like a lot of liquor licenses, you won't allow you to sell on Sunday because because of the blue law.
Right, specifically just a beer by the drink.
That's what it is.
Mm.
Yeah, so there's no hard liquor or nothing like that. No.
Authorizes businesses to sell beer for takeout or delivery. That's interesting.
It does?
Apparently.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Can I get a motion approving resolution 2025-31, a resolution to consider a liquor license applications for Maverick Pizza?
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Resolution 2025-32, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a patrol car.
So thank you again. So we have a fleet of 10 vehicles. My plan is to replace 2 a year. We did 3 last year, doing 1 this year, and I'll be back next year asking for 2. We'll see how that goes, but for right now, we just need to get 1. The state's no longer doing a flat bid on vehicles. What they do is they have an approved vendor list, and they have a form you send out. So I did that. I got back 4 prices. One was clearly lower than the others for the very vehicle we need. Happenstance to be the same folks we bought 3 from last year. And it's actually a little bit cheaper than last year, believe it or not. Almost $1,500 cheaper than last year for a 1-year newer vehicle. And so the price of the vehicle is $41,966. And in complete disclosure, I'll be coming back to you again in another meeting or 2. We've got a request for prices out right now for upfitting the vehicle for the equipment. But in the budget for this year, we planned for about $70,000 for the vehicle and the equipment, and we should not have any trouble coming in under that. But the vehicle portion of it will be $41,966.
What kind is it?
Dodge Durango, 2025 Dodge Durango, and it'll look exactly like the 3 we bought last year when we're finished with it.
Any questions?
I just need to know what to look out for.
They're easy to spot, on purpose.
All right, can I get a motion approving resolution 2025-32, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a patrol car?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2025-33, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with S&P Global Ratings.
PPM has recommended that the city enter into an agreement with S&P Global Ratings to provide help to deliver the lowest cost of financing and information available for future bonding strategies as it relates to the sewer plant plan of financing. S&P Global Ratings provides credit ratings for municipalities to help investors and other market participants assess the credit worthiness of the municipal bonds. These ratings help determine the risk associated with investing in municipal debt, impacting interest rates and overall cost of borrowing for municipalities. S&P Global will provide the city a detailed report indicating either the result of the evaluation based on hypothetical scenarios provided to S&P Global Ratings by the client, which will be expressed in the form of initial indicative rating outcome, or if the client has current ratings, the probable impact of the hypothetical scenario on the client's current ratings expressed in the form of an indicative rating outcome together with supporting rationale in each case. As a note, the city of Ashland does not have a rating. We never have. An explanation of any applicable adjustments and assumptions based on the information provided to them, including, if applicable, cash flows, stresses, and credit support. The fiscal impact associated with this agreement, the fee for the evaluation is $25,000 plus applicable value added, sale, use, and similar taxes, and an additional fee of $5,000 plus applicable value added, sale, use, and similar taxes will be charged for any subsequent hypothetical scenario presented for evaluation at the first rating evaluation committee. The client also reimburses S&P Global Ratings for reasonable legal fees and travel expenses, if any, incurred in connection with the services described in this agreement. So, not to get too technical, but basically they're going to assist us with a rating because we've never had a rating. So when we engage with these financial institutions to borrow the $23 million that we're going to need to expand the wastewater treatment plant, it makes us look better on paper to be able to, for those people to buy the bonds, and then obviously for repayment.
We never had to do this before.
No, but we've also never had to get outside financial services before. We've always been able to either pass a bond issue locally with the voters, or we've been able to pay out of cash or, out of our fund balances. But this project is gonna be extremely expensive. We wanna be able to do everything that we can to pass on savings to the customer. Especially since we now know a 3-year projection of our rate structure. Although we're spending some money outright in the beginning, this will help us later on.
Do you have any sense about what our rating will be?
Well, since I've been treasurer, it should be 100%. We should have an A+ rating.
Outstanding.
So, because, I've paid off all of our debt. Timely and early. So the only debt that the city has at this point in time is this building, a skid loader, and the roundabout, which will be paid off in less than 3 years. And really, I could pay it off now.
And no defaults ever.
And no defaults ever. And then all of the debt that water had is paid in full, so water now has no debt. And then the sewer bonds that we had, the two 2016 and 2018 sewer bonds, are paid down to just about a little bit under $4 million. So, other than that, the city actually doesn't really have any debt because we've been able to pay off large expenses.
Then I would say it's certainly advantageous to get credit for that fiscal responsibility.
Yes.
The only reason PFM is even suggesting this is that they believe we can get into the A's somewhere, whether it's double or not.
That's good then. That's real good.
That rating, the cost to get that rating will be more than made up by
My interest.
better
Yes.
interest rates.
$23 million.
Okay.
That's true.
When you're talking that amount of money, every little bit of fraction helps. So if you have to spend some money to have a company reanalyze your finances so you can be a better product for investors to invest in you and hopefully offer you a lower interest rate than what we initially estimated, it'll be good.
It'd be awesome.
And I imagine municipal bonds are particularly popular at the moment because they're so safe and stable.
Yes.
Can I get a motion approving resolution 2025-33, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with S&P Global Ratings?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, resolution 2025-34, a resolution approving the estimate with Schooners Construction for fiscal year 26 curb and gutter repair projects, please.
Authorization is needed to enter into an agreement with Schoolers Construction for the fiscal year 26 curb and gutter project. In the approved FY 26 budget, $58,000 was allocated for the completion of the curb and gutter repair project. The purpose of this project is to address multiple sections of failing curb and gutter throughout the city of Ashland. Contract number 2022-15 from Cole County is a cooperative contract, which is for various concrete repairs as needed. This contract is still in effect and was awarded to several different contractors. As this contract is cooperative, it is allowable for the city of Ashland to take advantage of these services at the listed price, or the listed bid pricing from various awarded contractors without requiring a competitive bid process. Schoolers Construction of Ashland is one of the awarded contractors under the Cole County contract. They have satisfactorily completed phase 1 of this project in fiscal year 25. It's my recommendation that Schooler Construction be awarded the fiscal year 26 curb and gutter project and be issued a notice to proceed.
Any questions for staff?
this bid is mainly for repairs, it's not new.
It's not new, it's
Nothing
repairing
new.
old, curbs and gutters that are falling apart.
And will it take care of pretty much everything broken in the city?
Everything on the existing list.
Yes.
Yeah.
It won't be everything in town, but
Is it spot on Dogwood on there?
On what?
Dogwood,
No.
it's not very big, but it's steep.
this is an ongoing thing that we plan to do for years going forward, so.
Is there a way to, I mean, are the builders now doing it differently now than they did before? So we don't have to continue to do this for the rest of our lives? Or is it?
Yes, 100%. Builders are doing it definitely differently, and, well, the developers are. So the developers put in the streets, and they are 100 times better than they were before. They're following procedures, they're putting down good base rock. Some of these, when they tore out the gutters, I saw previously, when Schooler tore them out, there was no base rock under the roof, it was just poured rain off the roof, so. The curbs were as well.
Any other questions? All right. Can I get a motion approving resolution 2025-34, a resolution authorizing resolution approving the estimate with Schooler Construction for fiscal year 2026 curb and gutter repairs. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to reports, just a few minor things. If you guys are interested, on the 27th of May, Coffee with the City was going to be at Jose Jalapenos. Kyle, myself, Darren, and I'm not for sure if Chief will be there. Chief will be there. So if anybody would like to join us, you can. Last weekend we had proms, and we had Kentucky Derby down at Eagle Knoll. Everything was pretty busy last weekend. So other than that, that's my report. City Administrator.
Just putting out another call for the MML training, June 12th to 13th in Columbia. Let me know if you'd like to attend, so we can get you signed up. I don't think Lauber has any other training that's close. We've already missed our Jeff City option. We had the wastewater treatment facility groundbreaking on Monday. That went well. Had good attendance out there. They're gonna start heavily mobilizing next week, so should start to see some action out there. On that, I think that's all I have for my report.
City Attorney report.
Two quick items. You all have appointed me your interim municipal prosecutor. I do that work for lots of cities. First docket's in 2 weeks. We've started getting some emails. That process is going. I'm gonna go visit with the Boone County Circuit Clerk on Thursday. That process is moving forward. We'll do that for you. Just a point about something you may have seen in the news. The Missouri Supreme Court upheld Proposition A last week. This is the constitutional provision that requires paid sick leave. I draw to your attention, cities are exempted from that. We don't have to do that, we don't do that. That's my report.
Water Supervisor's monthly report.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, to the new board members, welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Jeff Eller, the Water Department Supervisor. My report's in your packet. I just have a few things to point out there. The board approval of the well cleanup on well 5, that is supposed to start 1st of June. They anticipate 2 to 3 days for completion. That's installation of new SCADA as well. The only other thing I have is we did do an inspection on well 5, still waiting for the report. That was conveyed to me that they would have it back in the next week or two. Once we get that report, we can go through that and we can see if there is anything needs to be fixed or addressed.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions for Jeff? Thank you, sir. Moving on to Board of Aldermen. Alderman Dinwiddie. Your report. No report?
I don't have.
All right. Alderman Rancraft?
Yep, I do. We have roosters in our neighborhood that is keeping people awake.
You got some addresses?
Roosters.
Got some addresses?
Address is probably next door to 506, which is me. And there's two 2 houses that's got chickens. And I'm not sure which one's. got
Mr.
the
Ratterman
roosters.
will gladly take.
On North Trump, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Never heard of
I can't believe you don't. Of
Never
course,
heard
you, well, never mind, I'm not gonna say what's in my head. And then, you may agree with this, the children going up and down Martha Crump on these electric scooters and crap, in the street, are it's dangerous.
And they are by far exceeding 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, these scooters,
Riding both sides of the street
it's,
into oncoming traffic, especially around the corner there.
yeah, especially around that corner, it's very
I
dangerous.
will plug for the chief and request that you promptly call 311.
We have made arrests on those.
Well, it's bad.
You want me
'Cause
to-
I've seen those kids come by.
The deal is if they're electric and they have pedals, state of Missouri considers that a bicycle.
Right.
Period. Now, even there it's broken down, there's 3 classes of those. The third class, the class 3 ones will go like 28 miles an hour. You have to be 16 years old and have a driver's license to operate those on the street. The ones with no pedals, those are motorcycles, period. And you have to be 16 years old and have a driver's license to operate those. And we have arrested a couple of juveniles, we've had contact, we've warned some parents, and the message didn't get across, and so we have made a couple of arrests on it. And city administrator's right, the best thing, the instant we see those, call 311, make the report, so that our on-duty officer can come try to locate
Yeah,
them.
once she's referring to, they do have pedals. They exceed 20 miles an hour easily.
Well, and
And I've seen-
well, again, I had to recently become educated on this, and so there's if it's a class 3, then they exceed 20 miles an hour, and the things have to be labeled. There's a manufacturer's label that identifies them as a class 1, 2, or 3 e-bike.
Right.
If it's a class 3 e-bike and it's on the street, you have to be 16 and have a driver's license. You don't have to have a motorcycle license. but
None of these kids are that old.
I'm sure, yeah.
And there's 2 or 3 of them
And
at the
so
bottom at
that's-
the time.
And so that's why we need prompt notification. It doesn't help us to put it on Facebook. It doesn't help us to send us an email. What helps us is a quick call, immediate call to 311 with descriptions and locations, and then we can get, it's the most rapid way to get an on-duty person there and try to find them.
And I would say, and I choose my words carefully because I don't wanna belie the safety concern. But when these things, the concern is there'll be some tragic accident and a minor's injured. In that circumstance, there is a lot of outcry and people will suggest that a city's liable under some theory. We are not. They're breaking the law. It's a city street. We're out there enforcing it. It's not our fault if a minor in the course of improperly operating a vehicle gets hit. Hope it never happens. But I warn you now, when those things do happen, and there's a million factual scenarios, everyone will say, well, the city's at fault, and that's not the case legally. In fact, we are doing more than we are probably absolutely required to, but that being said, giving my legal opinion aside, please do support the 311 idea.
No, I will,
You gotta make a believer out of one, and then it goes away.
and I think that's, yeah,
Yeah, because there's a bunch of them that run together all the
oh,
time.
yeah, all the time.
And I met with the park board at the last meeting and briefed the park board on their options, in terms of it within the park on the walking trail, what options they have available, so.
What's the speed limit on that road?
20.
20,
Can you get a speeding ticket on a bicycle?
No, bicycles are their own little category in state law, and that's part of what makes this confusing, like especially on multi-use trails. Most people can't go that fast on a regular bicycle, but boy, on an e-bike they can, but the state of Missouri has said that if it's got pedals and a motor, it gets all the same legal protections as a bicycle. And so, but there are options for local municipalities and local governmental entities to restrict the use, either citywide or on walking trails, that kind of thing. And so, that's what we've talked to the park board about, what their options are.
okay, question, if I call 311 and I disclose my name, they're not gonna, when they get these kids, they're not gonna say crazy woman.
Absolutely, we're gonna say Brenda Rape, no.
Well, you know, they all know I'm crazy.
No, they don't, we don't have to tell them anybody called. This is one of those deals, we don't need a complainant.
And the records are exempted from the sunshine law.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't want,
Historically, on that corner, I'm the one that gets blamed.
well, I know, that's good, that's good.
No, we do not need, there are certain infractions that we need a citizen, like our peace can't be disturbed, right?
Yeah.
Now, the rooster's a different story, that can be dealt with.
I've got my.
But there are certain, like your neighbor's loud stereo, that can't bother us.
Yeah.
We have to have a citizen that says.
No,
on
well, no,
record
I'm
if it's
concerned
bothering
about the children getting hurt.
me. Absolutely, and we are too. And
That's
so,
a very blind corner, as you know.
absolutely, and so, but no, we don't need to, we don't have to tell them anybody to call. We found them, they're riding on the street, we
Okay, good.
can deal with, yeah. So,
And then I have, let's see, someone addressed me today, and actually Leslie this will relate to you. They think the city needs a lost and found, because a wedding ring was found and you helped it get back to the rightful owner. And they said either have a lost and found, or even a bulletin board that you could post it, somebody could come in and look. There's a wedding ring found, at such and such a place.
We have a bulletin board.
Is there one out in the hallway? I told
Yes.
them I thought there was.
There's a bulletin board out in the hallway, and lost and found properties turned over to the police department.
Okay, I'll tell them that.
and we've tracked down purse owners, wallet owners.
Okay. I'll let her know that.
Whenever we have enough info to do it, we can track them
Well,
down.
the wedding ring got back to the rightful owner, because luckily Leslie knew who it belonged to, or possibly belonged to, so. And that's my report.
Thank you. Alderman Court,
And no report.
Alderman Turner.
Clarification, on what day, May 27th, are we having coffee at Jose's or margaritas at Jose's?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm wondering, thank you. I didn't wanna be the one.
I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna drink coffee.
What time of the day is it?
But I can tell you, there's a better opportunity. Dun, dun, dun.
I will be on the clock.
Yeah, Jose's got bourbon.
27. Anything else?
I'm all good. Nobody answered my question, but.
I'll have an answer for you after.
I'll take my e-bike home.
No report. Any comments from the public? I see none.
Just one thing to add that, since Scott's not on the agenda, Scott did receive his Blue Shield designation for the city of Ashland, so we did push press release on that. Didn't quite make the top 15 cutoff for the 15 fastest municipalities, but we gotta be close behind, so. Thanks for helping out Scott with getting that designation, so we can continue to pursue grant dollars when they become available.
Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
All right.